Okay, good morning, everyone. Hope you're all well. I want to thank you all for taking the time to join us on this webinar this morning. Just want to make sure everyone can hear me okay. So you might just pop a good morning into the chat function, please, if that's okay. Let us know what the weather is like. The sun is shining in Dublin. Hopefully everyone has sunshine wherever you are. Good morning. Sunny everywhere. Wow. Okay, so the sun is even shining in Cork, in Tralee. This is the first webinar we've had, I think, where the sun is shining everywhere. It's glorious all around Ireland. And as we're talking about the weather and the sunshine, our weather person, Evelyn Cusack, I see retired this morning after 42 years announcing the weather. And she seems very happy that she's retiring, but she also talked about how much she enjoyed her job over that 42 years. 42 years letting us know about the weather. She did bring us a lot of rain over that 42 years, but we'll forgive her for that, and we wish her all the best. So thank you very much for people to let us know in the chat function. You can hear me okay. Okay, so look, we'll start into this webinar just to let everyone know what the plan is. It's obviously a webinar about how information around how you can be certified as a great place to work. So I'm going to share a few slides around the program and the process and how it works, just to make sure everyone is informed. Please feel free to pop your questions into the chat function or the Q&A. We'll make sure we answer your questions at the end of the session. Once I finish sharing some slides, I'm going to be joined by a couple of my colleagues as well, who will help us go through the questions. So any questions you have on the program, feel free to send them in. But also, I would say any questions in terms of your culture and things that you're working on for your people, feel free to pop those questions into the chat as well. We have over 20 years experience helping organizations build their great place to work. So thankfully, over those years, we've acquired a level of insight and knowledge with that. And we believe that any organization can build a great culture. And of course, our mission is to help you do it. So any organization, any size, any industry, we believe can create a great culture and can create a great place to work. And there's just a line on that slide which says great workplaces do the basics well. And whilst it's a simple point, it's a really important point as well. So, you know, from the work we do with great organizations that are in the program, they obsess on doing the basics really well. They look at how they communicate, how they speak, how they listen to people. They look at the quality of leadership. And it's not about doing the latest thing in well-being or anything like that. Being a great place to work is actually about focusing on the basics and doing the basics well. So we'll have a look at the, or actually we'll have a poll now, I think. So sorry, we're going to have some polls as well. So please get involved in the polls. I know the sun is shining. It's hard to work when the sun is shining, but pop your answer for this poll. So do you believe you work in a great place to work? Do you believe you work in a great place to work? And it's a yes and no option. Do you believe you work in a great place to work? Yes or no? Thank you for getting involved in that. And 95% of people believe, yes, they are working in a great place to work. And 5% have answered no to that question. So if you believe you're working in a great place to work, well, now is the time to for sure join the Great Place to Work program. If you don't believe you're working in a great place to work, well, that's okay as well, because the model and the program will support you in making improvements to your workplace culture. So thank you very much for getting involved in that poll. So what is a great workplace, great team? One of the things we know from the program is organizations who are in the Great Place to Work program, it helps create a common language amongst the leadership team in how they talk about people and culture. So the definition of a great workplace, the definition of a great team is where you trust the people that you work for. You have pride in what you do and you enjoy the people that you work with. Where you trust the people you work for, you have pride in what you do and you enjoy the people you work with. And that's the definition of a great place to work. And as I explained, the survey and what's involved, the survey questions fall out of that definition. And no matter what industry we're in, all of that is within our gift to achieve. Create a workplace where you trust the people you work for, you pride in the job that you do, and you enjoy the people that you work with. And just on the next slide. So I want to give you a sense as to, well, how does the program work? So you sign up to the Great Place to Work program, and how does it work and what's involved? Okay. And I know we've lots of organizations on the call who may have actually worked with Great Place to Work in a previous job, in a previous company. And this is the process, how it looks now, and you'll be delighted to know it's quite streamlined and quite easy to achieve. So on the left-hand side of that screen, you'll see that there's a survey. So the Great Place to Work survey underpins all the recognition and the work we do at Great Place to Work. So the survey is a key element of the program. Okay, we'll manage the survey. We have a superb team that are ready to support you. We'll survey all your employees, and of course that gives us and you lots of data to work on in terms of improving your workplace culture. So the survey is a key area. There's 17 key categories as part of that survey. The survey will tell you everything you need to know about your workplace culture. What are we doing well, and what could we do better? The other element then of the program is what's called a culture brief. And that is an Excel file that asks questions around the demographic breakdown of your workplace, some stats, some key data. What I'll say about the culture brief is there may be some questions that you're not able to answer or you don't feel comfortable in answering. That's absolutely fine. The culture brief has nothing to do with the scoring process in terms of being certified as a great place to work. It's just part of the criteria that we ask for. So 2 elements: survey, we'll manage the survey from our end, all your employees will be surveyed, and the culture brief, which will take about an hour to complete in total. I think we have another poll coming up now. Okay, so do you currently have an employee engagement survey? Do you currently have an employee engagement survey? And the options are yes and no. Do you currently have an employee engagement survey? So we'll just give that a moment for the answers to come in. Do you currently have an employee engagement survey? Yes or no? Okay, so 59% of people on the call currently have an employee engagement survey, and 41% don't. And the way I look at an employee engagement survey is it's really a listening tool. The survey gives you a chance to listen into employees, what's working well, what can we do better, and can really be an important tool in terms of as you look to develop your workplace culture out. So 59% have said yes, and 41% have said no. Our survey, as I said, 17 key categories will give you a readout on everything you need to know in terms of workplace culture. What are you doing well, and what can you do better? I know somebody asked a question there around timings and how long. The survey will take on average about 10 to 12 minutes per respondent for it to be completed. It's about 10 to 12 minutes for the survey to be completed. We ask a number of questions, and then there's some open-ended questions where we try and get comments and suggestions back from employees, managers, and leaders. So about 10 to 12 minutes. Okay, so how do you become certified as a great place to work? So as I said, the survey sets the tone. It's the key foundation of all our great place to work, if you like. So to be certified as a great place to work, you must achieve a score of 65%. So when we average out all the responses to the questions, if you hit 65% or higher, you will be certified as a great place to work. You must submit the culture brief, and that certification is valid for 1 year. And it's a very, it's a good process, 6-week turnaround from start to finish. And we'll help you position the survey, promote the survey internally. As I said, we have a great team in place. And if you achieve that score 65% or higher, you'll be certified as a great place to work. What I will say is all of our clients use the survey as their measurement around improvement and improving their workplace culture. So that's a 6-week turnaround in terms of being certified as a great place to work. In terms of then how do you activate the achievement? Okay, so you've now gone through the program, you're certified as a great place to work. We have a great team in place that are ready to support you around how you activate the achievement of being a great place to work. Why is it good to be a great place to work? Well, it's going to help you internally in terms of retain talent by people knowing and believing and understanding that they're a great place to work internally. That's a really important piece, but also externally in terms of how you look to attract talent when you're posting for new jobs, when you're building out your employer brand. To be able to say you're a great place to work is a great tool to have in terms of your employer branding efforts. All right. And you'll see in the middle of the slide here, we have multiple recognition opportunities. You can be certified as a great place to work, which is the start of all our recognition. You may be a tech organization. We have best workplaces in tech, best workplaces in pharma. We have a best workplaces list overall, best workplaces for women as well, for organizations of 50 employees or higher. So there's multiple recognition opportunities, but to be certified as a great place to work is the most important start. If you're certified as a great place to work, and I'd encourage you to go onto our website and have a look at some of the profiles, you will have a dedicated profile page on our website where you, when you're posting a job that you have, you can link talent to that dedicated page on our website. And that really helps the talent believe what they're hearing from this organization. When they see that link, when they see this organization is a great place to work, again, that third party endorsement, it helps talent believe and they're more inclined to apply for that role. And of course, being a great place to work will provide you with a better caliber of candidates applying for jobs, but also more candidates applying for jobs. Okay. So another poll. Will you be hiring in 2023? Options: no, yes, less than 5 people, yes, between 5 and 20 people, yes, between 21 and 50 people, and yes, more than 50 people. So will you be hiring in 2023? And the options are on the screen there. Okay, 3% have said no, 24% have said yes, less than 5 people, 35% yes, between 5 and 20 people, 14% said yes, between 21 and 50 people, and 25%, 18 organizations have said yes, more than 50 people they'll be hiring in 2023, which is great to see. And this being certified as a great place to work is absolutely going to support you in terms of your hiring needs. Okay, but also it's going to help you retain talent internally as well. And a final slide here, just before we then sort of have a look at some of the questions that have come in. So this slide here is just talking about some of the data that we've gathered. Look, we've had the privilege of working with lots of organizations across lots of industries. The benchmarks we have are updated every single year, obviously, because the survey is taken each year. So just wanted to share some stats with you in terms of how the best workplaces perform compared to organizations that haven't achieved recognition. Okay, and don't worry, we'll send out these slides so you have them, right? But you can see a question there in the middle that we asked. I would strongly endorse my organization to friends and family as a great place to work. That's about advocacy. I would strongly endorse my organization to friends and family as a great place to work. And 81% of people in best workplaces would agree with that question. And it's only at 44% for organizations that haven't achieved recognition. And that's about employees advocating for your workplace as a great place to work. So I'd strongly endorse my organization to friends and family. Another question down the bottom left, taking everything into account, I would say this is a great place to work. Okay, you're getting a feel for some of the questions now that we ask on the survey, but taking everything into account, I would say this is a great place to work. 83% of organizations in best workplaces would agree with that question. Yes, it is a great place to work. 49% of people in non-recognized organizations would say this is a great place to work. And I'll just show you one more question. I'll just highlight one more question. People look forward to coming to work here. Okay. Now, of course, we'd be worried about people that would be singing coming in the gates of the workplace every morning and have that level of cheeriness. But it's important that people aren't anxious about where they're going when they're going to work on that daily basis. So people look forward to coming to work here. 77% of people in best workplaces agree with that question. Yes, I do look forward to going to work. 36% of people in non-recognized organizations would agree with the question that they look forward to coming to work here. So look, that was a sort of a quick overview in terms of the program. All right, just quick summary points, I would say, before we move on to the questions. Great way of building a sense of purpose by committing to joining the Great Place to Work program. The survey underpins the Great Place to Work program, and the recognition the survey will provide you with all insights in terms of what you're doing well and what you can do better as well, and will be hopefully your metric for your metric around people and culture. We'll obviously produce reports and be able to support you around making any improvements that you need to make. So we'll just click on if that's okay. So I want to introduce two of my colleagues, Breen Sutton and Shane MacDonald. As I said, we have lots of experience in terms of supporting organizations on their Great Place to Work journey. So Breen and Shane, you are very welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Morning. Thanks, Carl.
Good morning, everyone.
Good to have you. Good to have you. So Shane, look, just we'll start with you, if that's all right. Just a question that came in, which is a question we hear a lot, which is so somebody is asking, how do they know when their company is ready to start the Great Place to Work program? So how do they know when they're ready to start?
Well, I think any company that is serious about, building a great workplace culture, I mean, the time it really is now, because, regardless of what score you get in the survey, you're going to get a lot of data that you can analyze and work with, and then we'll help you kind of look through that data and share best practices with you as well to kind of, further, progress your culture over the coming 12 months or so. So I think, when is the best time to do it? The time is now, really, because, as I said, regardless of the outcome, you're going to learn a lot, and you'll know that you're actually moving your business forward in the right direction.
Great, Shane. Thank you. There's no perfect time to begin, right? Thanks for that, Shane. Breen, a question in from, I guess, an organization that has employees across multiple countries, so not just employees that are based in Ireland, if you like. Can they include employees from other countries in the program?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for the question. I saw Ashley's question there indeed. So the answer is yes, you can absolutely survey your colleagues overseas, happening more and more after COVID, that people are working remotely. So what we do is survey the Irish headcount and include the overseas people as well. So the certification standard that Carl touched on there, 65%, that's uniform globally. So depending on the headcount, I don't know in this particular case exactly what the headcount is by location, but there is the opportunity to be certified and recognized in other locations as well.
Okay, thanks for that, Breen. Shane, any examples from clients, so clients that have gone through the Great Place to Work program in terms of, I suppose, business benefits, right? So talent attraction, talent retention, performance, things like that. Any examples that you have to share?
Yeah, I think, for anyone looking into more examples, we have a really good resources page on our website where we do infographics. We also have webinars about twice per quarter, podcasts once per quarter as well. But I think one of the most recent webinars we held with one of our clients, Statkraft, really looked into the talent attraction side of things, where, what I found really interesting from what the CEO said in that was, they would have traditionally hired a lot of people from within the same industry, but since they became certified and we published their company profile up on our website, they started to get a lot more visibility and started to get a lot more applications from people in other industries as well. So it really diversified their applicant pool and the number of applications they were getting as well. So that's just one example from the talent attraction side of things. But again, if you're looking for examples on how people use this whole process for things like leadership development, tracking business performance, we do have a lot of examples on that resources page that you can check out and take your time to go through. So that would be my best suggestion.
Thanks, Shane. And we're okay to share any case studies we have as well and infographics. Okay, great. Thanks for that. Thanks for that, Shane. Quiva, I see, has asked a question. In relation to the survey, how do you reach desk-based and non-desk-based staff in a large segregated organization? Quiva, we work with many organizations that aren't all desk-based. They're spread across different locations, organizations where not everyone has an email address as well. So the team are well versed in terms of how to manage that process, ensure we set it up in the right way to get the best response rate. There's unique login codes that we can do. Some organizations are still on paper-based surveys as well, Quiva. So Quiva, we're happy to have a conversation with you directly around how we can set that up to ensure that you get the best response rate. I know at the moment we're working with a large hospital group where, of course, not everyone has access to email and is at a desk. So we're working closely with them around supporting them to achieve a good response rate. Okay, thanks for that, Quiva. Brian, if we don't reach that 65% level in terms of certification, what does that mean? Brian, you're on mute.
There you go. Sorry, I muted myself there. Apologies on that. It's often the case that organizations don't reach 65% the first time they run the survey. So as Carl touched on there, going through the slides, that it is an average of 65% on the statements, which is very helpful for organizations because you might be stronger in some areas than in another, and that will help you carry through. If you don't reach 65%, and even if you do, as Carl mentioned, we're breaking out the data by the 17 actionable categories. So we're able to come back in and deliver feedback and insights and help with action planning and practice ideas and solutions to build those scores to reach the 65%. So for a lot of organizations, what they actually do is position it with their people to say that they are engaging with Great Place to Work with a view to being certified over the next 3 years. So they're lifting that pressure of expectation of certification in the very first turnaround in the survey. But to answer the question, it's not a concern because whether you do or whether you don't achieve 65% across the board, we're there to support and help along the way.
Thanks for that, Brian. And of course, some of our clients have been with us now for 13, 14, 15 years, right? And they use them on the model each year as they go through change as an organization to help them progress and help them move forward, if you like. Question, is there a set time frame to do the survey each year? Shane, do you want to take that one?
Sure. So you can be certified any time of the year. You know, as Carl mentioned, the typical project turnaround time would be about 6 weeks. The employee survey is a 2-week survey. So the survey is open for 2 weeks. In terms of, you know, when you are certified, once the survey ends, you'll know very shortly thereafter, you know, if you're certified or not, and you can then activate the certification right away. And when it comes to some of the other recognitions that we offer, like Best Workplaces List, this is an annual publication and an annual event. So there are deadlines involved with that. So typically the deadline would be around December 15th, for example, last year, with the event happening in February each year. So to answer your question, you can be certified any time of year, but the Best Workplaces List would have a deadline of December.
Great, thanks for that, Shane. We have a question. Question from Chloe. Thanks for the question, Chloe. So Chloe's interested in terms of price and fees in terms of being certified as a Great Place to Work. Currently, Chloe mainly hires through recruitment agencies as we don't have an in-house full HR function. Will this only benefit us when we begin to hire via our own function? I ask because there's a degree of anonymity through agencies and isn't something that could sell the company as a great place to work. I'm not sure I get the last part of that, Chloe. You might just reframe that so I understand it. But in terms of pricing, so a question on pricing, Breen. So do you want to take that one?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's coming in a couple of strands and a couple of questions there. There's a couple of drivers around the investment that's involved. Headcount is probably the main driver in terms of the amount of work that will be, involved in setting up and running the survey. So depending on your size, and obviously then I suppose in terms of the level of engagement that an organization wants to pursue, and the kind of solution they're looking for, whether it's purely recognition only or more around insights, that will affect the investment. But I suppose in terms of, for a medium organization, around 150 to 250 people, that sort of region, investment there is really ranging anything from around 8,000 up to say 14,000, 14,500. But as I say, really depending on the size of the organization, and we do work with a range of organizations. So in terms of recognition, best small workplaces is from 20 up to 100 people. And then we have medium and large above that, and certified. In terms of the recognition to be certified, it is possible to engage between 12 and 20 people. So the investment is significantly lower for those lower headcount organizations that we support.
Thanks.
But I suppose the best way to answer that really is I'm happy to pick up after the call on a one-to-one basis with organizations and work through what it is the solution that we can build for them.
Thanks for that, Brian. So employee numbers and the level of support that the organization needs will have an impact on the price, but we're happy to.
Yeah, that's it.
And Chloe, just the second part of that question, if you get a chance to kind of pop it in again, just so we understand that, and happy to follow up with you on that. Linda asks, would it be possible to see a sample dummy report to understand the 17 categories that the survey covers? And would you see this as a possible replacement to the employee opinion survey, engagement survey? Linda, absolutely, it's possible to see a dummy report of the 17 categories. We'll take you through what those 17 categories are. And I'm biased, of course, but I would see this as a replacement of an employee opinion engagement survey. This survey, you'll get, everything you need to know around your workplace culture, but also get that opportunity to be recognized as a great place to work. So it's a 2-in-1 piece. So yes, it can replace. Also, it can complement as well. I know some of our clients are locked into global surveys that they do. They'll also run the Great Place to Work survey as well as a complement to that global survey. We have a question in as well around the survey is clear and understood, and then what's involved in the culture brief. So the culture brief is largely an Excel file that we will send out to your organization. There's a number of sort of statistical questions we ask on your business, like what's the male-female breakdown of your organization? What's the age profile of your organization? Some key stats that we ask. Also in the culture brief, we'll be gathering a team photo, things like that, that'll help us activate the achievement then once the survey is completed. But again, if you want any more details on the culture brief, please reach out to us and we will be happy to support you on that. Sorry, I'm just scrolling down here to make sure I catch any more questions. Is the fee an annual fee? Sonia asks. Shane, do you want to take that?
Sure. So, yeah, I mean, typically it is, unless, for example, companies sign up for 3 years, which is becoming a lot more popular as companies look to position this as a certification journey internally. But typically companies will go through this process once per year, just because after the survey ends and we kind of review all that data with you, we will be giving you some examples of actions or HR policies, programs, and things like that that you can implement to kind of target those areas that you potentially scored a little bit lower in this year's survey. And in order to see have those actions gain traction and awareness internally, basically by doing the same survey again, you'll see the difference year on year. And I think that's something really valuable about working with us on an annual basis, is that you'll get those year on year comparisons. You'll know, have all those actions you've taken, made improvements internally to those areas we've targeted. So yes, it is an annual fee, but we do have options for 3-year contracts if that's your preference as well.
Thanks for that, Shane. Jackie, I see the comment that you made. Don't worry, we'll follow up. We'll follow up with you. We'll liaise with you and make sure you're supported around the price for your organization and how it'll help your organization. A question around what support do we get throughout the process? So an organization signs up, they register. What's the level of support? What's the flow then, and the support that we give that organization through the process? Brian, do you want to take that?
I will certainly. Yeah, and so once you're registered to engage with us, and then what we do is we set up a call with our client success team. So we have a client success team to support you very strongly and very well and very clearly through the process. So, for an organization, sometimes I suppose it can be a concern in terms of, well, like, what are we going to do? When do we launch the survey? How does the process work? We have been through this thousands of times, and the client success team have built a really strong support case here for organizations of every size, whether you have a HR function internally or not. And very much on that client success call, it's focused, I suppose, primarily around the survey and the survey preparation in terms of that being a project. So one element is pre-survey launch, pre-survey communication, and building out a good internal communications plan that you'll launch yourself, but we can give you examples of what other organizations have done, how they've gone about it, what's been successful. Another key element here is where we take a template or a map of the organization and use whatever identifiers you have as an organization in terms of colleagues and team members by role, by function, by location, by manager grade, whatever identifiers you have in the structure of the business currently, we're able to utilize those. So that means then when we launch the survey, people never need to self-identify, and the results populate back up into the template. And this then, while the survey is live, typically the survey is held open for 2 weeks. We monitor it, and people within your organization have access to see data and details there also. And then in terms of the last part of the question there, in terms of completion results and supporting the company, it's using your data that has come back in the survey, and there are 3 open-ended questions at the end of the survey that provide context also. But those identifiers that I mentioned there, we're able to use those in combination with the 17 categories that Cathal mentioned there earlier, to provide a really deep insight into the organization and cut that data in multiple ways to see what is the overall organizational score, what does that score look like versus benchmark, and then depending on the headcount, break out some of that data by department, by team, by location, to get the view and the understanding and the perception of people within the business, and really trying to understand here, how well are they aligned to the strategy, and what's really important to deliver for the business. So the short answer is support before, during, and then after is feedback and action planning. And then obviously by engaging with Great Place to Work, you have access to the Great Place to Work community as well, and the knowledge center that Shane mentioned.
Thanks for that, Brian. And if we track it through to, let's say, results, the survey is finished and the results are in, we'll present the results to yourself and your leadership team. About an hour and a half, that session, we'll identify what you're doing well and what you can do better. And I know from doing many of those sessions, they're a really important moment for the leadership team to get behind the actions that are needed to keep on this Great Place to Work journey. So there's plenty of support that's available to you there pre and post survey. We have a client success team that has worked with lots of range of organizations, different challenges and locations and all of that sort of stuff, and they're a wonderful team in terms of being able to set you up for success. I know there's a question here on neurodiversity in the workplace. I'd like to follow on directly with yourself on that question, whoever asked that question, but thank you for dropping it in. We have a question then around, do we have anything in place in Great Place to Work for the LGBTQIA community? And it's certainly something we're interested in looking at. The survey at the moment has a number of questions around diversity, that gives the organization a readout in terms of diversity and how we're currently showing up on that. And actually, what I know is from many of our clients, the Great Place to Work survey has been a trigger moment for them in terms of setting up community amongst all people within their organizations. So they've used the survey results maybe to set up a unique community of support for females, for managers, for people of all demographic and gender as well. And we do have a focus, and we do have an ambition, I would say, to encourage organizations to build a great place to work for all, not just for the some, but a great place to work for all people of all demographic. But happy to liaise directly in with the person who asked that question. Ronan, I know you asked about a sample PowerPoint presentation. You're looking to sell the idea to the decision makers. Absolutely, we can support you on that. It'd be great, Ronan, if we could have a direct conversation just to see who the decision makers are, the industry, and we'll help build a deck for you with some infographics maybe from organizations from your own industry in terms of how they use the program and what value they get from the program. So Ronan, I hope that answers the question that you've posed there. A couple more moments if anyone wants to drop any more questions into the chat. Chloe, thanks for coming back in terms of that question that you asked earlier on. So my understanding is that it's an agency operation, so you know, achieving Great Place to Work, you're not able to use the logo in terms of promoting that organization in itself. What I would say is the program in itself will help you in terms of your internal employer brand, and it will help you retain your best people. Committing to the Great Place to Work program is making a commitment to your people internally as well, to say, you know, we're committed to making improvements. We're committed to improving our workplace culture. But Chloe, follow up directly with me as well. And I'm sure we've got some organizations that we work with that are similar profile to yourselves, and that we might be able to link you in as well with, and you can learn from. I know Breen there talked about the opportunity around community. So when we set up the organization, we were very conscious to set up a community of organizations who are on this Great Place to Work journey, who are learning from each other, who are connected in with each other. And that's a key part of the program as well. Like on June the 15th, for example, we're bringing our clients away to Lyrath Estate for a day of connection and content. So there's lots of benefits around being part of the community as well once you join the program. Coming near the end in terms of final questions, a question in around benchmarks, Shane. So kind of, can we benchmark against similar industries, similar sizes? That's something we can do?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we work with a very diverse range of companies in terms of industry and size. The standard benchmark that we'll include in most reporting is an index of the best workplaces based on, you know, best workplaces, small, medium, and large. So those 17 actionable categories are then benchmarked against, you know, your relatable size. But if we have enough companies in the same industry as you, and if you're looking for a specific industry benchmark, you know, we can definitely talk about that and create one as well. So yeah, absolutely. I think it's something really valuable in terms of the analysis side of things and the planning, the action planning side of things as well.
Thanks for that, Shane. I know from being in with leadership teams presenting the results in comparison to the benchmarks, it's sometimes useful to have a benchmark that we score quite well against to give that sense of confidence. And then sometimes it's good to have that stretch benchmark as well, just to drive that sense of improvement as well. And I think that's where the benchmarks become really useful. And as I said, they're updated each year so that they're not stale or out of date. But the benchmarks can be useful for the leadership team, thinking that initial moment, just to see, okay, we're doing better than what we thought. But maybe there's an area that we can look at in terms of making improvements. Caoimhe, I know you ask about who the best contact is in terms of arranging a call. Thank you for that. Don't worry, Caoimhe, we'll follow up with you. We'll make sure you have the contact that you need, and we'll understand your needs. And we'll follow up directly with you on that. So I think we have, sorry, let me just check. Have we got through all the questions. I'm looking at Q&A, I'm looking at chat as well. So I hope we got through all the questions that were posed. No problem, Quiva, you're very welcome. I hope we got through all the questions that we posed there. The question on neurodiversity, I'll follow up directly with the person who asked that question. But keep the questions coming, I would say. Like, we're here to help you. We're here to support you. I'll kind of finish in terms of, so a question around response rate. Breen, do you have that question?
Yeah, just somebody, I missed who actually asked the question, but somebody has just asked a question in terms of response rate. I'm not sure that you touched on it in your previous answer or not.
No problem. What was the question, Breen?
And what response rate is required?
In terms of response rate, we look at confidence level. So it depends on the employee numbers you have. We have to be 95% confident in the results that we're looking at. So it largely depends on the response rate. But key to response rate is how we set up the survey. We'll support you around that in terms of positioning and promoting the survey. On average, we get about a 75% response rate to the surveys we run across all the organizations. So we'll support you in terms of setting up the survey, in terms of getting that ideal response rate. And then, as we know, in year 2, the key to the response rate is how we action plan. So if we follow up, not fixing everything, but if we follow up on some of the areas and show a bit of movement, then the response rate should improve then into year 2 as well. And I see it was Eddie that asked that question. So Eddie, thank you very much for the question that you posed. So look, I think we'll finish there if we like. The sun is shining, all right. But I want to thank everyone for joining the call. All right, thank you, Breen. Thank you, Shane. Obviously, thank you to the Great Place to Work team. We're going to be following up in terms of the slides and the recording from today. So if you're interested in hearing back about Evelyn Cusack's retirement after 42 years, calling out the weather, you'll be able to hear that back and have a listen to it. So thanks to all the Great Place to Work team for supporting us on that. I see there's lots of thank yous coming in.
Welcome, and thanks to everybody for attending too, Carl, just to say thank you.
Yeah, of course. And look, I'll finish kind of where I started. Look, any organization can build a great place to work. We're here to support you around achieving that. This will help you in terms of your internal culture and how you retain talent, but also help you in terms of how you attract new talent and grow your employer brand. So thank you everyone for joining us, and enjoy the sunshine. Thanks a lot.